Alright, everybody. So this is Vinny Millennial Law, the strongest name in law. Well, not really now. Now I'm kind of like crippled. I'm waiting for surgery, so I'm not really moving too well. But I wanted to just make a quick video because this is coming up. Like, I don't know where it comes from. I'm hearing that there are like some online gurus that that are like favorable to this. They speak about this. I want to deal with the issue of the sovereign citizen, right? Um, many times, and I don't know where it comes from, but you have individuals that will want to sort of, I guess, disclaim their citizenship, like walk away from like U.S. citizenship, right? That they're a sovereign individual in the land, um, that they're not, what do you call it? They're not like citizens of the U.S. anymore, whatever the case is. I, I don't understand this argument. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why people do it. I don't see it often. I probably saw it a handful of times, but it's at a point now where like it's enough to a point where it's concerning. There must be some guru or somebody out there that says that this is a great idea for, I don't know, skipping taxes or skipping child support or something like this. I don't know, but it's not a good idea. No courts give a shit about this. I want to be very clear. Um, it's a talking point. It'll buy you some time, and that's about it. Um, these things are in the most holistic sense, right? In the most philosophical sense. This might be done because somebody philosophically is against the government regime. You hear all too well, you hear all too often somebody that, after an election, I'm not going to be a U.S. citizen anymore. I'm going to go to Canada or I'm blah, 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 blah. All right. Okay. It's great. Good. You made a statement. Perfect. Um, okay. Impact? Nothing really. Another idea is that some guru might say something to the effect of like, well, it'll help you with, legal troubles, or it'll help you with financial troubles. You're no longer contracted to be a United States citizen, or whatever the case is. The laws don't apply to you because you're not a citizen now, or something. This just needs to stop. This needs to stop. It's stupid. It's not going to work. It's not going to get you nowhere. You're not going to get away from your debts. You're not going to get away from the law. You're not going to get away from your child support. You're not going to get away from your parking tickets. You're not going to get away from your tax troubles. You're not going to get away from loans. Nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. The purpose, it makes no sense. Nothing's going to happen. You can't just opt out of laws in the country because suddenly you proclaim yourself to not be a citizen. You can't just opt out of debt, right? Well, those debts only applied to me, when I was a citizen, or my social security. No, but now, that's not my social security number anymore, so therefore, the debt doesn't apply to me. You just can't. It doesn't work like this. Not a single court in the country will sit there and say it will be on your side. Matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. Courts don't approve of this. Courts typically find this being frivolous. They'll see pro se individuals do this often, meaning individuals that don't have attorneys. But courts find this to be frivolous. There's clear case law out there that's even upheld on the appellate division in many circuits, that the cost of defending or responding to this will be applied to the pro se plaintiff who does this, or the pro se party, or whatever the party who does this, because it's considered frivolous and a waste of the court's time. There's a possibility that aside from being hit with the cost, you find yourself with other sanctions. Other fees or expenses or costs that you're attributable to, other than your reimbursement of attorney's fees. Other than reimbursement for attorney's fees from the other side, you might find yourself with other sorts of sanctions and penalties. particularly if, you know, what I'm seeing is, you know, where a lot of these come from, these guys that go to jail. These guys are, they go to jail, or they're formally incarcerated, whatever the case is, they come out, they go into the prison system, they read a couple of books, somebody gives them this great idea that they should revoke their citizenship, and suddenly now they're not citizens anymore. And they think that this is some kind of way to, you know, advance these ideas, and to do so, they just propose these incredibly complicated, complex, heavy documentation, all these big words and all these big major claims, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, it goes nowhere. There are sanctions for it. Attorney's fees and cost of court costs, maybe, who knows. You might also be in contempt. You might find yourself, you know, in some sort of allegation of disobedience with the court. Let's say you get in trouble, and then the court says you got to show up. You got to show up on this day. You hand them this affidavit of non-citizen or whatever the case is. You don't get immunity. The law still applies to you. You don't get immunity. And you could find yourself in contempt and get punished. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you sit in jail until your next court date because they think the sovereign citizen's going to leave. I can't. There's no benefit to this, and there's no rational basis to this. And the more you push these theories out and you bring them in front of a judge, this is not a good idea. And you're talking to somebody that I try very hard to always find some kind of legal protection for somebody, whatever the case is. I always try to craft something. There's nothing to craft here. This is a stupid idea. It will be met with sanctions. It will be met with allegations of frivolous conduct. It'll be met with, you'll be treated as like this, crazy litigant for no reason, that you're excessive. You lose credibility. Court might keep you in contempt. They might be pissed that you did that. They might want to put your ass in jail for a couple of weeks. Wait until your next court date because they think sovereign citizens are going to run. It's just not a smart idea. There's really no, other than your little philosophical argument. You pat yourself on the back. Congratulations. You've really proven your point. You showed them that you don't play games and you're going to revoke your citizenship. It doesn't work. You're not canceling your citizenship. You're not canceling your taxes. You're not canceling, your parking tickets. You're not canceling your criminal charges. You're not canceling you're not canceling your contract with the United States. None of this is happening. You're just not opting out. I'm trying to think out loud. Like, what else can I say about it? You just simply can't escape the law. You're just not going to escape it. You can't nullify laws. You can't nullify taxes. You can't nullify licensing. You can't nullify court orders. You can't nullify, criminal jurisdiction on yourself. You can't nullify court jurisdiction. And then someone comes in and says, well, this is notarized. Okay, so what? What do you think the notary public's a judge? That just proves that you paid it. That just proves that you signed it. That's all a notary does. The whole purpose of a notary is there just to show that there's a reputable person that the state recognizes as a notary who could attest that you signed the paper. I don't know who advances this argument. I don't know if there are some influencers. I don't know if there's some other asshole attorney who's telling you this is a great idea while he takes a $25,000 retainer. I don't know. I would strongly recommend against doing anything like this because, at the end of the day, I think all you're going to do is probably A, agitate the judge, B, agitate the other side, C, be seen as like discredited and crazy for a judge, particularly if you have like ongoing litigation. And realistically, let's just say you're doing this, even though you have representation, you're just showing your lawyer that you have no respect for your lawyer, that you have no respect for their recommendations, that you have no respect for their intelligence and their strategy on how to resolve your case. That's all you're showing here with this. And I think I will strongly disagree to anyone who wants to propose this. You have no benefit from this. None. At all. Sorry. None. That is all. Make good decisions in your life. Yours in law, love, lifts, and hopefully in the next video, well, I'm going to make a few today, but hopefully in the next couple of upcoming weeks, I will be doing it from a bed because I'm really injured. Have a good day, everybody.